talking to this lady that we see looking wonderful, giving us the hard news, giving us really the real behind the news and headlines. You know her from MSNBC, AM Joy. Get ready to say hello and clap it up and show some sisterly love for the beautiful Joy Reid of MSNBC. There she is. Hey, girl. I love MSNBC. Hi, Joy. Take your seat on the couch and your microphone. And welcome to Circle of Sisters.
Thank you.
Is this your first year here?
This is my first year here. This is amazing.
I tell you, it's like a good old family reunion, right?
It is.
This is like, hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
How you doing? Go to booth such and such and such, get your sparkly lipstick.
Yeah, well, I should have brought some sparkly lipstick. I didn't know.
Yes, lashes,
Yes.
hair care,
Yes.
all kinds of fashion. Forget about Fashion Week right here, you
I
know?
might have to shop a little bit before I leave.
Absolutely. You're definitely going to walk out of here and spend some money for sure.
A little bit, yes.
So, Joy, how many years have you been on MSNBC at this point? I don't think I can honestly keep up.
So if you count the years that I spent at the Griot, at thegriot.com, which is when I came back to NBC, I've been here since 2011. But I worked for NBC many, many years ago for a local station in Miami, and I actually left the business. I left the whole news business, and I came back to work at the Griot. I was in from 98 to 2003, left the business, did some politics, worked on a couple campaigns, including the Obama campaign, which I'm very proud of. And after Obama won, I dropped the mic. I was like, I'll never work on another campaign again. I worked for the first Black President's campaign, my little contribution, and I came back into news.
When did you know that you wanted to be a broadcast journalist? Like, when was your aha moment personally where you're like, this is what God has called me to do. This is it, this right here.
You know, it's interesting. That happened for me after I left the business. Because when I was in local news, my actual goal at the time was to be a writer, and that's really my core sort of thing that I do well, is I'm a writer. And so my goal was to, be in the news business, but eventually to transition to writing books. And that was really my passion. I didn't think about being a broadcaster other than being a guest. I had this dream board that I made back in 2004 after I left news, because I was very against the Iraq War and I didn't like the way we were covering it. I was like, this isn't for me. Local news was definitely not for me. And so I was like, I put on this board, I want to be a guest on Hardball. I want to be a guest on Meet the Press. I want to be a guest. I didn't think about being a host, just a guest. And so the time that I really realized that I could do this and would want to do it was after really I came back as a pundit. And I was a guest on a lot of shows, which is the thing I wanted to be. And I realized that I could do more than this, that I actually might be able to sit in the big chair. And I kind of figured that out, like really after 2011.
So tell us what you love about the news industry. Take us to your world, because we love to go there with you. What do you love about reporting the news? And then conversely, what keeps you up at night? Like, what sucks about it?
Yeah. Well, the thing I love about it is I'm a talkative person. Ever since I was a kid, I just can't shut up. And so I found a perfect job for a person that loves to talk. I love the fact that I have a platform, and that, the things that I think and the things that I feel, the things that I believe, I love the fact that I have a platform to say it not only for myself, but to speak for a lot of women like me who I didn't have that when I was growing up. There were very few Black women in the business. There was Gwen Ifill. There were like 2 or 3 Black women. There were very few. And so I feel very blessed to be a Black woman that can speak for other Black women, because a lot of us feel the same way about these issues. I feel very blessed to have the platform to speak for us. So that's what I love about it. And my team, we have so much fun. We're wacky and crazy. We're laughing all the time. We make it fun because this is a dark era. And the thing I hate about the business is this era. I hate where we are as a country. I hate the fact that every day we're dealing with violence against our children, violence against our kids even in school. I hate the fact that we're dealing with hate toward immigrants. My parents were both immigrants. I hate the fact that we're dealing with so much hate and anger and rage, and that it's frustrating to watch people not do anything about it. I can report on it, but the people who have the power to change it, I get frustrated that they're not getting on with it and change it.
First of all, I love when you sit in for Rachel on Rachel's show. I'm a big fan of Rachel. She's like a girlfriend in my head. You are too, and I'm meeting you, so I'm trying to stay cool as a cucumber over here. But I usually watch Rachel, then Lawrence, and then Brian is my man, 50 grand. Can you please tell him his ties are sparkling every night? He hits it out of the park.
Can I tell you a story about Brian Williams? So when I was working at WTVJ in local news, I was the web news editor. And what that means is basically the anchors would do their stories, and then I would beg them to write something for the web, and I would write their stories up online. And so I was like really at the bottom of the totem pole. And so the web team, it was kind of new, and the industry didn't really recognize the value of the web at that time. This is like the early 2000s. So people didn't really talk to us too much, and when we would talk in meetings, they would be like, why y'all talking? Why is the web girl saying anything? But when Brian Williams, who at the time was the NBC Nightly News host, when he would come in, Brian was one of only 2 or 3, Carrie Sanders was the other one. Those two would come in and they would talk to everyone. Brian would treat everybody like everybody was a star. Brian is as nice and cool to me now as he was then, but he was as nice and cool to me then as he is now. There's a thing in the business called anchor personality, where when you're on TV, you're nice to everyone, and when you're off TV, you're only nice to other anchors. So there's some people in the business out in the world that are not like that. One of the greatest things about my job is that all the anchors, Rachel, Lawrence, Chris Matthews, Chris Hayes, Brian, they're exactly like they are on air as off air, and they're just as nice and cool to everybody as they are to other anchors. So I love working with these people. We love each other. We have a great time together.
You can tell.
Yeah, and we just adore each other, and I love that.
And I was watching you. This had to be about, I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe not that far back. I forget who you were interviewing, but you did what I call, see, you don't know this because you're such a girlfriend in my head, but you did the Joy Reid check. I mean, you checked that person good. And I love when you do that. Keep doing it, Joy. Like you keep it, honestly, you report the news, you're straight ahead, you're definitely fair and balanced, but when someone comes off on your show and says something crazy, you check them. And I'm like, that's my Joy, you better get them.
Well, you know what the thing is? I think the benefit of having left the business, and I was never trained as a journalist. I never went to journalism school. I went to film school. So if I ever come out with a movie, I hope y'all will go see it. I did not train to be a journalist. And so the advantage of that is because I also worked in politics. So I was the person in charge of spin. So I've had the job as a press secretary where your job is spin. So I know what they're doing. So when these people show up on my show, I know what they've been told to say. I understand they've been given talking points. So it's like, I know the game. And you can't be a person who played the game at the game. So it frustrates me because I know what you're doing. I know you're trying to spin me. I know how you're doing it. I know that the PR person told you to say this, and this, and I'm a step ahead of you, so don't try that with me. Let's just have a conversation. I don't mind disagreeing. I don't mind debating. I love to debate. But don't come and play a game. It's a game, and this is too serious to play games, so I will not allow that on my show.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. We have to wrap up. I have one last question.
Yes.
What is a story? Every journalist, every storyteller or narrator, especially a writer, has the story that hasn't been heard that they would love to share. What is that for you, Joy?
You know, there's a lot of them. The time that was the most meaningful to me and most unforgettable to me in this business is after I got let go from my show. My show got canceled, which is the worst thing that can happen to you in the business in theory. But one of the things I learned about it is you will survive being canceled. So I don't have fear in my job. I'm not afraid they're gonna cancel my show. I've been canceled. I can write, I'm talented, I will find jobs, I'm not afraid of being canceled. But during that period when I was canceled, I then for the first time became a reporter. Now I was not a reporter before. I'm an analyst. I analyze the news. But for this year and a half, I became a reporter. And the beat that I happened to be on was the Black Lives Matter beat. And I wish we had more time on air to tell you the story of these families. You know, I sat in church covering the Trayvon Martin family's grief. I had to sit and talk to Tamir Rice's mom. We had to go to places where people had died in the grass, where Trayvon died, laying in the grass alone without his mom and his dad. And I think that what we forget is that when you see these stories of Black Lives Matter, Sandra Bland, I sat in that church for her funeral and wasn't allowed to say anything or be on camera. I just had to sit back, and you just have to take it. You take in so much grief, so much of other people's grief, that I wish people could understand that these families, the mamas, they're all heroes, but they didn't want to be. None of these people chose to be in this club. And the strength that these women have. Sabrina Fulton is a rock. I don't know how I would have gone crazy. I have 3 kids. If anything like this happened to my kids, I would have dissolved. But these women, the strength that they and these dads have is so amazing that I really wish that we could spend time just to talk about them. They're amazing people.
The incomparable Joy Reid. Share with everyone here at Circle of Sisters when they can watch you on MSNBC.
Yes, if you don't watch AM Joy, please check us out. We are 10 a.m. to noon, Saturdays and Sundays. Apologize to your pastor, because we are on during Sunday services, but you can also DVR us, go to church, come back and watch us when you get home.
We love her. And watch out for the Joy Reid check. She's going to do it, I promise you, before 2020.
Thank you.
Let's show some Circle of Sisters WBLS love for Joy Reid.
Thank you.
And come back next year.